What is up? It's the 22nd MMA Roundtable, March 7th, 2013. As always, a ton of shit to talk about. We got UFC on Fuel 8 that went down this past Saturday, Sunday, I'm not sure. It was in Japan, who knows. But we had a few good scraps on that card. We had a lot of news coming through the wire this week, along with a shitload of fight announcements. I don't know if Joe Silva just started doing meth or something, but we got a whole lot to talk about it. So let's get into it. Thank you very much for tuning in to the MMA Roundtable, here with the MMA Podcast, MMA Mental, Word on the Street. We're all here. You can listen to this show every Thursday, 7 to 9 Eastern, 4 to 6 Pacific, 12 to 2 a.m. if you're over in the UK. Speaking of the UK, our boys over in the UK, MMA Mental, as always, doing big things. What's going on, Ray?
Well, as always, got a lot going on. Got some more interviews lined up for this week. And our very own co-host here, Jay Jeans, is off to Bama 12 this week, courtesy of MMA Mental. He'll be there cage side covering the event for MMA Mental, which is brilliant. So, up guests this week then. Already I've spoke to top UK prospect James Mulheron. He's 2-0. He's made for the cage heavyweight champion, which is a regional, one of the biggest promotions in the UK. And he's also training partner of Phil DeFries, and Phil DeFries speaks really highly of this guy. So it was a good interview. Then I spoke with XFC 23 fighter Dominic Steele, who's coming off of his loss to Brian Rogers at Bellator, which was a really, really good fight. And then also me and Patrick tomorrow will be speaking to Danilo Villefort, who's fighting at World Series of Fighting, Tara LaRosa, women MMA star, up-and-coming prospect Mike King, who's 5-0, UFC lightweight Mike Rio, and also UFC new signee, who's obviously massive on Twitter at the minute, the Hawk Sale Paleli. He's going to be coming on tomorrow as well.
Definitely. Ramses, I've been joining in on your last couple tough recaps. They've been golden. It seems like every week you just happen to have the person who's going to be fighting the following week. Last week you had Luke Barnett and Jimmy Quinlan. This week you had Zach Cummings. As always, Jamie, the living legend, Huey, coach of Team Sonnen. You're doing huge things over with the Word on the Street podcast. Tough recap. On Twitter, the Aunt Jimmy Show. What is going on in your world, man?
Very interesting that you point that out. I had not realized that up until just now. That is shocking to me. I have no knowledge of future tough episodes or matchups. I just like to say that right now. Now, with that being said, everyone should just forget about that. Let's move on now. With that
I
being
didn't
said,
say anything.
Exactly. Now, look, guys, if you're just, I'll keep it real short. I used to be a loser too. I know a lot of people are out there listening to this podcast, smoking crack, going nowhere in life. It's time to put the crack pipe down. Follow me, the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. Your life will turn around. You'll start getting laid. That's the bottom line, and that's the word on the street.
That is the word on the street. I can attest to that personally. Jay, the MMA Playground. You are the unofficial ambassador for the Playground on this podcast. What's going on over there?
Well, first of all, I want to say once again, thanks a lot to Ray, because he's given me the opportunity to go to Bama, and I'm really excited. So, yeah, I'm going to be helping MMA Mental out. We've got some good things happening on the Playground. I'd like to give a shout out to Buffalo Dave. He got his top poster badge this week for the Playground. I know he's not here, but I know he'll be excited about that. I've also heard that next week we've got another top poster coming on who just got his top poster badge, and that might be Sparky. Don't know if he is coming on, but I've heard a rumour or so. And yeah, it's all going well. I know that Jake had another bad round, and that's a change because he's been on form.
I was on a hot streak the last two events. I was on fire. This event, I did piss poor. Yeah,
so as you can hear, well, he's back to his usual ways, I should say. And yeah, it's all going well. And if you think you can beat any of us, go to MMAplayground.com and make your picks.
Make your picks on the MMA Playground. Don't forget it. Join a camp. Get active on the forums. It really is the best forum on the internet, and I'm not just saying that. I truly believe it. You have a lot of really funny people. You don't get all the TTTs like you get on the UG and all the douchebaggery you get on the Sherdog. And I guess I'll plug my own podcast, which is the MMA Podcast. Sorry we weren't able to do a show last Friday. I thought I was going to be able to set up out of town and do it at a remote location, but that remote location did not have sufficient internet skills. So we will be doing it tomorrow for sure. Fridays, 9 to 11 Eastern, 6 to 8 Pacific. While Chris is on his sabbatical, Ramses has been very gracious to join in and been having a lot of fun bringing guests in. We don't have any guests confirmed for tomorrow. We were on a hot streak with guests, and we cooled down a little bit, but I'll try and lock something down. And as always, the MMA Roundtable, go ahead and tweet us at the MMA Podcast or MMA Mental. Visit all of our websites, the MMApodcast.com, MMAmental.com. And enough of the plugs. We'll try and keep it under 20 minutes like the Rogan On It commercials. UFC on Fuel 8. This past Saturday, I feel like it almost fits into the category of cards that the main event has been unsatisfactory up until the main event and co-main event. I feel like we've gotten a lot of those the last 4 or 5 months, and this one followed suit. Before we talk about that awesome main and co-main, which had a couple very brutal knockouts, we'll start with the boring decisions, and the first one was maybe the most boring of them all. Dong-Yeon Kim defeating CR Bahadurzada via unanimous decision. A lot of people were hot on CR from Kabul, Afghanistan, after he knocked out Thiago Tavares in the first round, but Dong-Yeon Kim just suffocated him. All 3 judges had it 30-27.
Paulo Thiago,
sorry. Thiago Silva, Thiago Tavares, Thiago Alves, Paulo Thiago. I can't keep track of all these goddamn Thiagos. What did you guys think of the fight? What do you think's next for the stun gun? Word on the street, Ramsey, so I'll start off with you.
I had Yum Yum Kim to win this fight. I picked him out, but really I didn't expect it to be this damn boring. He turned it up maybe in the last minute there with those yum yum fists, but overall I was not thrilled here or entertained. Good for Yum Yum Kim, but this fight meant absolutely nothing to me. So I'll just turn it over to Ray from MMA Mental.
What to say? I mean, CR had nothing for Kim, did he? He could not deal with the wrestling at all. Kim, he won the fight, but I think like Ramsey said, none of us were excited by that performance. He's not done himself any favours. He's not raised any stock. And what's next for Kim? At the minute, it's hard to really care what's next for him at the minute. He needs to up his game. It's one thing winning, but you need to win impressively as well. Obviously, he's just around on the outskirts of top 10, not in the top 10, just outside the top 10. And there's a few good guys coming over from Strikeforce as well. So I'm sure there'll be a good matchup for him. But I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. And at the minute, I wouldn't be excited seeing the Kim fight.
I did not, like everybody else, I thought this fight ended up like Dan Henderson versus Jake Shields. It was just an entire fight. It was about 14 out of 15 minutes with a dude in full mount, not able to get a finish, not even able to put a fucking mark on the dude's face. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he cut him towards the end of the fight. I don't think he did. Towards the end, I think I just stopped even paying attention. I should have picked Dong-Yeon Kim. I really just picked CR Bahadurzada, just hoping he'd knock him out. For a non-United States mixed martial arts competitor, Dong-Yeon Kim has great wrestling, but I'm not real high on him in really any other department, be it standing or any kind of grappling. I mean, like I said, 14 out of 15 minutes of mount, no action. It was lame. What's next for Kim? I hope he gets the Maya fight. I hope he gets the rematch because Maya will just destroy him. Like, why does he want a rematch? Maya took him down in like 45 seconds and broke his fucking rib doing it. Maya's just a beast at 170. Kim doesn't want any fucking part of that. I hope he gets it because that's what it seems like he wants. So let's get that Maya Kim match going now.
The fight kind of played out how I thought it would. I'm not going to get too much involved in it because I'm going to debate it more during my bonehead because the Black Zillions are my bonehead this week. Oh, man, CR just looked bad and Kim just looked really good. doing nothing from Mount, and I guess that's it really. I like how he started taunting him, but why didn't he do it earlier in the fight? Why did it take him? Why didn't he feel like he should have worked in the first and second? It felt like he only started working in the third. It was like, now that I've got no chance of losing and I'm not going to get knocked out in the first 10 seconds of exchanges, I'm going to start taunting him. You should have begun much earlier. Fight was fairly boring, and yeah, what's next for Kim? I don't think you should get Meyer either. I have to agree with Patrick. I don't really know, and I think you should just get another person who's wrestling these. Maybe Mike Pierce, actually. Yeah, Mike Pierce might be able to knock him out.
Exactly. Yeah, I would like a fight against Pierce. I don't think he deserves the Maya fight yet. Thinking about who is out there. I like Pierce. Who else is out there? I can't really think of any other welterweights. Yeah, Pierce. Let's match that up. And remember, when you're listening to Jay, this is the same man who enjoyed Machida versus Henderson. So take everything you hear from Jay with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen.
Sucker.
All right. Well, what was that? Nothing.
You guys are nuts.
We are knobs. All right, middleweight bout number 4, Yushin Okami, keeping himself highly ranked in that middleweight division. I believe he's number 4 behind Rockhold, Belfort, and Weidman. Weidman's getting that title shot. Belfort and Rockhold are fighting each other. So really, after that, that immediate title picture, Yushin Okami is the first one in line. Defeats Hector Lombard. Both of these guys judo black belts, and Yushin wins a split decision. 2 judges having it 28-29 in favor of Okami. The other one 28-29 in favor of Lombard. I watched it. That third round that Hector Lombard came out, I think he won the third round. I gave the first 2 to Yushin Okami. I don't know what the deal was with Lombard just coming out flat those first couple rounds, but he let Yushin throw him around. In the third round, he came out. It was really interesting. I didn't think the gas tank of Hector Lombard would let him be dominating the third round, but he actually won the third round, ended the fight on top of Okami. I don't think we'll see Lombard cut anytime soon, but it was just another head scratcher like the Boach fight, where in that first couple rounds he just looked uninspired. So yeah, Yushin Okami wins the split decision. What do you guys think is next for Okami? What's next for Lombard? I really think Yushin Okami deserves to fight the next best guy after Weidman, Belfort, and Rockhold. The next best guys, Costa Philippou and Jacare are going to be fighting each other. Jacare, May 18th, which is just a couple months from now. Let Yushin rest. Make sure he stays away from Chael's mom, and let him fight the winner of Philippou and Jacare. What do you guys think?
I have to agree on the whole split decision thing. There was too many split decisions on this card for me. There was some very strange scoring. I don't know how this was. How one judge could have thought that Lombard won that fight. I mean, Lombard didn't look good at all. And it's a shame because there's a lot of hype on Lombard. Coming into the UFC. And he's another one of those guys who's been great away from the UFC. But when it comes to step up to the big competition, he hasn't delivered. He beat Palhares, but we all know that Palhares folds under pressure. He didn't look good against Boach, and he didn't look good in this fight. I mean, for someone who's got a judo black belt, he was taken down at ease. I was really surprised and disappointed how easy he was taken down. And he's talking about what's next for Okami. He said about him getting a top guy, and both those names that you mentioned are both worthy. But another guy to consider, another top middleweight that he's never faced would be Bisping. If Bisping beats Alan Boucher, and obviously Okami beat Boucher, I think Bisping versus Okami would be an interesting fight, because Bisping has shown in the past that he's got really, really good takedown defence. And if he kept the fight standing against Okami, I think he'd beat Okami.
Well, you know what? I scored the fight for Hector Lombard. Honestly, I thought Hector should have won that fight. That first round, he was landing him up. He was doing good standing. He was closing. He was hitting Okami with some bombs in that first round, and that's why Okami was taking it down. But to the 2 takedowns I remember Okami getting, Hector Lombard actually showed some really impressive sweeps and was able to get back to his feet both times. He was not on the ground for a super extensive period of time. He absorbed little to no damage. And I gave him the first round for having the more significant shots and calling the grappling a push based on Hector being able to get up. But, you know, that's just me. One of the judges saw it the same way. Of course, I gave Lombard the third as well. But, you know, it's going to be tough for him in the UFC. These 185ers are huge, and he's coming in. He's a very ripped 185, but he's coming in at like 5'8", 5'10", something like that. And that's just going to give him some problems. What's next for Okami? Jake, I thought you laid it out pretty well. I mean, pretty much everything at the top is booked, and that's where Okami is. He is towards the upper end of the UFC's 185-pound division and has been for years now. I think the winner of him, or the winner of Jacare versus Philippou versus Okami, I think that'd be a good fight. Stylistically, either of them match up really well with Okami.
My original thoughts about the fight was I still to this moment, if they were to rematch, I'd be picking Lombard to get the knockout. I was 100% confident in Lombard and was shocked with the fight, like most people I think were. I did have Okami by decision. I didn't think it was going to be split. The fight didn't interest me because I know you guys are going to be saying that I probably enjoyed that fight. I didn't enjoy the fight. I mean, there are fights I do enjoy, but that wasn't one of them.
You probably enjoyed that fight.
I enjoyed the third round of that fight, okay? Let's be real. As for what's next for Okami, I have no idea. He's one of these guys who there is no way on earth I want to see him fight Silva again. He's been knocked out by him twice. I think Bisping, provided he wins, I think that fight seems to make the most amount of sense, given that Bisping probably would be able to stay away from the takedowns. As for Hector Lombard, he's getting $300,000 to fight, and that's a lot of money. So originally I was thinking the most sense would be Mark Munoz, although for $300,000 it's got to be someone with a bit more. It's got to be maybe even someone like 195 Varnley, or even Rich Franklin, guys who are worth the $300,000. It's not going to be a Pilares again, nowhere near.
Hector Lombard versus Yushin Okami was a boring ass fight. It was disappointing. We were all expecting a slugfest, I'm thinking. Instead, Yum Yum Okami, he did his best impression of Chael Sonnen. Except there's a problem. When Okami does it for some reason, it's just not exciting. It was boring as fuck. This fight, I was watching it, and this is like towards the end of this fight is where I started to fall asleep during this card. And, that's all I gotta say, man. This fight was a disappointment. What's next for Okami? I don't really care. Good for him. I was hoping he would win, but I don't really think about his next fight. He'll fight whoever they give him, basically. But good for him. Get out of there, Hector Lombard. We're done with you. He looked like a bum. Word on the street.
Get the clown out, as Vitor Belfort would say. Moving on, we got a lightweight bout that was the most controversial bout of the main card. Diego Sanchez winning a controversial split decision over Takanori Gomi, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Most people had Gomi winning this fight. I had him winning the first two rounds, 10-9. I had Sanchez winning the last round, 10-9. I had Gomi winning the fight, but at the same time, I don't feel that bad. Even though I don't think Sanchez won, you can't leave it to the judges. And it was too bad seeing, the hometown favorite Gomi not getting a victory in Japan. But that's what happens when you leave it to the judges. Diego Sanchez takes the victory. As far as what's next for Diego Sanchez, as much as I don't think he deserved this victory, it's a victory. And it puts him in that top 15, top 10 even maybe, of the lightweight division. And you do look at the lightweight division in the UFC, it is fucking, everyone's booked. Melendez Henderson, Grant Maynard, Pettis moved down to featherweight, Diaz Thompson, Maynard Grant, like I said, Dunham Dos Anjos, Miller versus Pat Healy. You know, everybody is booked. Cerrone Nunes. Next for Sanchez, just hold on a minute, because most all these fights that I just mentioned are going to be in the next couple months. Wait to see what happens when all this lightweight mess gets sorted out, and see who is available. I don't know, maybe take on the winner of Evan Dunham and Rafael Dos Anjos. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think this fight, Comey clearly handed Diego Sanchez his ass. Diego Sanchez has looked like ass for the past couple years now. Couldn't even make weight at 155. I kept laughing because Mike Goldberg, or I don't even remember who was commentating this event, whoever it was, they were saying that it was his return to 155. I kept saying, you can't fucking make a return to 155 if you don't make 155. You made 158. Anyhow, Comey clearly handled Diego Sanchez. How can the dude not get a home-cooked victory when he clearly beat the other dude's ass? I mean, it's in Japan. Doesn't make any sense to me. As for Diego Sanchez, what's next for him? Jake, once again, you plotted it out perfectly. Everything's booked. All I can really say about that is that Diego Sanchez said that he wanted to fight Nate Diaz. Well, Nate Diaz, I think everybody forgets because he handled Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone so excellently, but Nate Diaz just destroyed Takanori Gomi when they fought. I mean, it was a crushing. He dropped him twice, ended up getting the sub. It was nothing but a thing. And he would likely do the same to the Diego Sanchez that showed up for the Gomi fight.
The fight wasn't really that exciting in my eyes. I didn't think either guy really did, and it was a close fight, but I can understand why people would choose either man to win. I did think it was a controversial decision, but neither man lost that fight, and neither man won it. If Diego Sanchez wants Nate Diaz, Nate Diaz has got a fight with Josh Thompson, as you guys have mentioned. I'd like to see Sanchez fight Cerrone or Gillard, but I think Cerrone's got a fight booked, and I think they all train out of Jackson's anyway, don't they? So that's not going to happen. I don't know what's next for either of them, but the lightweight division is pretty stacked right now, so they will be able to find opponents. I think that Takanori Gomi, if Eve Edwards would have won that fight, that would have been a nice one. But right now, I think I can't really think of fighters for either of them. I think neither man lost that fight, and we'll just see where it goes from there, really.
Oh man, get ready, Ray, because I'm going to keep this short. That Yum Yum Okami fight already had me, my eyes feeling heavy. So for the Diego Sanchez Gomi fight, I have to admit, I was fucking asleep. I was out, dude, for a good 40 minutes, starting with this fight pretty much. So I didn't see it, but I heard Diego got robbed. Which is weird because you'd think in Japan, Pride, it would have gone for the Japanese fighter. So that's a little puzzling, but I'll have to watch it again really before I comment. So I don't have anything to say, and I didn't really care about this fight at all. That's it's part of the reason why I fucking conked out during it. Word.
It's lucky you're not in the UK because around this fight started around about 4:30 in the morning in the UK.
Jesus.
So you're lucky you are in the UK. Yeah, for me, this fight was robbery. I thought Gomi won this fight. It wasn't even really much of a contest. Diego Sanchez looked awful. He just had no game plan. He was standing with Takanori Gomi, and we know Gomi's strength is striking, so, put him on his back. Sanchez didn't look good at all. Like Patrick said, he didn't make weight. So then to come out and call out someone as highly ranked as Nate Diaz, if you want to fight Nate Diaz, in my opinion, you've got to earn the right to fight Nate Diaz. Not making weight is certainly not earning it, and then squeaking out a split decision where I think even Dana White said afterwards that he felt that Gomi won that fight. I hope they don't give Sanchez that fight. I hope they give Sanchez another tune-up fight and they drop him lower down the card as well. He didn't deserve to be so high up on the card after that performance. I think Gomi will get another good fight because I think of how he fought in that fight, and I thought Gomi looked good personally because I think a lot of people thought Sanchez would steamroll Gomi. And that wasn't the case. And the commentator kept on saying about the 155 thing was Kenny Florian. And yeah, it was doing my head in as well because it was clear that he didn't make the weight.
Indeed, yeah. You can't really put too much respect behind a guy who, your one job is to make weight. You don't have to win, you just have to make weight, and you don't do it. Come on, son. Two guys who weren't really too worried about making weight because they're fighting at heavyweight, Mark Hunt and Stefan Struve. You have one of the wider guys in the UFC taking on one of the taller guys, 5'11", Mark Hunt, taking on 7-foot-tall Stefan Struve. And let me just get to the brunt of it. Stefan Struve got his jaw broke. Go and look at his Twitter. Just Google search Struve jaw broken, and there's an X-ray. It's not one of these like hairline fractures you see when someone, I got in a skateboarding accident and I got a hairline fracture on my wrist. No. His jaw is busted into two pieces right a couple inches, I want to say, to the right of his chin. It's just the bottom part of his jaw is just split into two pieces because Mark Hunt threw some dirty fists, breaking Stefan Struve. Struve was on a great streak. He was ranked number 9 in the heavyweights. Mark Hunt was not ranked. I don't know if he's ranked now, but he should be. I'll actually check that right now. But no, Hunt defeating Stefan Struve in the third round, 1:44 in, and I'm looking right now. He is number 9. Struve's been knocked down in number 10. Yeah, Hunt doing some work, throwing some heavy hands. It was viral all around the internet. I think Deadspin even grabbed it because, you love seeing a 5'11" guy knock out a 7-footer, right? And yeah, Hunt does some work. Thinking about what's next for Hunt, I sort of put him in that same... You have a lot of fights going down in the next few months. I think there's 8 or 9 cards, so a lot of these guys are tied up. And like I mentioned, in the heavyweights, he's ranked, I think, number 9. You look at all the guys above him. They got Verdum Bignog, Mir Cormier, Overeem Dos Santos, Bigfoot Velasquez. He was apparently offered a fight with Alistair Overeem. We will get to that a little bit later when we talk about Overeem's injury. Overeem injured, apparently last night was offered a fight against Sagano. Did not take the fight, has declined comments so far. Dana White personally tweeted out to Ramses about the issue. We will get to that after guess that tweet. But no, Hunt defeats Struve in devastating fashion. And sort of like I was alluding to before, like Diego Sanchez, because so many heavyweights are tied up now. I'm thinking about the best heavyweight around who's not tied up in a fight. I mean, it's probably Stefan Struve. After that, I don't know, Brendan Schaub. I can't think, and he's done more to get a fight against Brendan Schaub. So wait until all these fights work out in the next couple months, and I don't know, maybe take on the winner. Verdum, Bignog, Mir Cormier, both of these winners I think could be next in line for a title shot. I know I've been talking for a shitload, so I'll pass it on to Jay, but yeah, what do you think about the fight, and what do you think's next for Mark Hunt?
The fight, I personally thought Mark Hunt had done a ton of grappling backstage because he looked sweaty, he looked slippy. Struve couldn't put anything on him. Struve, he seemed like he slipped out of absolutely anything Struve tried to do. Struve did manage to make some sweeps, and he did a good job from the top position when Mark landed. When Mark started finding his range, when Stefan Struve stopped working any sort of reaches like leg kicks or jabs. I don't think I've ever seen Struve throw a jab, but it was night-night, and that massive punch. When Mark Hunt knew that when he landed that left bomb, that was it. He just, that nobody gets up from that, and you could see it. That's how he felt, and that's what he knew. I've got a few points to make since Jake said it. Yes, it looks like Mark Hunt did decline a fight with Junior Dos Santos, but my sources are telling me that Mark Hunt is still getting paid $6,000 to show and $6,000 to win. Would you fight JDS for $12,000? Mm-hmm. Personally, I wouldn't. Nowhere near that much.
Dana White did actually mention that exact thing to Ramses. Ramses and another fan were speculating on why Hunt would turn it down, and they were thinking that maybe Hunt wasn't being offered enough money.
Jay's onto something here.
Jay is onto something, but White's response was, "You dummies, he's on a contract. What he's going to be paid is fixed, no matter who he fights." Apparently everyone's leaning toward the money issue, which would seemingly be the only reason why. Look, we know Mark Hunt. You look at Mark Hunt's record, he is not afraid to fight Junior Dos Santos. Hunt went on a 6-fight losing streak, and, I can't really count Sean McCorkle, but he fought some of the five amazing fighters: Josh Barnett, Fedor, Overeem, Melvin Manhoef, and Gegard Mousasi. Lost all those fights for the 5 by submission, but he's not afraid to take a hard fight, which makes you wonder why he would turn it down.
It's got to be the 12 grand. And the other point you did mention is who isn't tied up right now. I'll tell you who's not tied up. You've got Todd Duffy, you've got LeVar Johnson, you've got Brendan Schaub, and you've got Stefan Struve. And those 4, I think for 12 grand, if he wants a new fight, you should try and get one of those guys booked quickly, or else he's not going to get money anytime soon.
Holy shit. Yeah, Mark Hunt, he broke Stefan Struve's face in half at the skeletal level. It was very impressive, but I'm not hopping on this Mark Hunt bandwagon like everyone else seems to be. He's not the greatest heavyweight of all time. I'm sorry to break the news here on the MMA podcast. I thought he fought like a bum. I thought this looked like a bum fight. Just with a good knockout, that's what it looked like. I didn't think this was some sort of a technical expo here going on. Skills, it was just 2 big guys swinging at each other. But it was a good fight, good for Mark Hunt. But yeah, Jay and Jake, you guys figured it out right now. Yeah, Dana White did call me a moron on the internet. He did. But I'll take it, all right? But let's all say what it is here. The fact is they probably offered Mark Hunt shit money. His contract isn't worth shit. Dana was saying, "Oh, well, he has a contract. We offered him his contract, blah, blah, blah." That's pretty much, good dodge, Dana, Uncle Dana. I love you to death. I respect you. I thank you for every free fight you've ever put on, and all the fights that weren't free that I saw for free. I thank you for that, too. I respect you. So it was a good dodge, and that's pretty much all I'll say about it. And, he called me a moron. He couldn't be more wrong. I'm probably the smartest man in the planet Earth right now at this moment in time. I do believe that. But I'll just, I've enough with the mic here. I'll pass it on, guys. Thank you. Word on the street.
I think Ramsey was still asleep for this fight. I don't think he watched it, because to call this fight, say this fight wasn't good, I mean, that's just absolutely... This is as mad as what Jay said last week, saying the Evans-Bakuna fight was good. I mean, this fight was epic. I mean, you had it on the feet, you had it on the ground, you had reversals. We got to see Mark Hunt grappling, we got to see Stefan Struve's chin. I know he got his jaw broke, but how many shots did Struve take before he actually went down? And he still didn't go out. He was still ready to fight. I think he said he wanted a tooth removed and he wanted to carry on fighting. I mean, this was just a crazy, crazy fight. Mark Hunt, it was just amazing. I mean, the last 2 fights, so we're going to get to either one. It was like watching the old Pride FC. It was just like, it was bringing back the memories. It was a fantastic way to end the card, because the card had been disappointing. There were some good fights on the prelims. Obviously, we haven't mentioned the prelims, but Bruce Leroy had a pretty good fight, and so did Mizugaki and Caraway. But then it got to the main card and it slowed right down. But then these last 2 fights, it just hurdled. I think, I hadn't heard the money theory, but that does make sense. But then it'd make a lot of money off sponsorship for that fight as well. But I think Mark Hunt will sit out and get a big fight. I don't think he'll take any of those names we mentioned, because it's not worth it for him now. I mean, after beating Stefan Struve, he wants somebody else in the top 10. And there's so many good fights for him, so many good matchups for him as well with his stand-up. Because there's a lot of guys up near the top that are good strikers. And we know that Mark Hunt can strike. I know he lost Alistair Overeem, but Overeem hasn't looked the same since he stopped taking those drugs, so maybe that'll have an effect as well. Maybe Hunt could knock him out. And also, Jake said about the weight thing, about these guys don't have to cut weight. Apparently, Mark Hunt did have to cut weight, because this is the first time he's ever had to rehydrate himself after a weight cut. So there's a little fact for you. So Mark Hunt did have to worry about his weight for this fight.
I thought it was a good fight. I'm with you on that one, Ray. I was questioning Mark Hunt, though. It seemed like he was just, I don't know why he kept diving back into Stefan Struve's guard. I'm sure everybody was scratching their head. I think that's the only thing that was wrong with that fight, if you could even say that. It was just, it was so weird. It was like, why don't you just stand up? I mean, he was handling Stefan Struve from bell to bell in that fight on the stand-up. It was really just in the grappling where Struve was threatening, as we all pretty much called it. And Mark Hunt, he just showed that his game is improving. So it was a good win. I love seeing it. It was a fucking fantastic knockout. Definitely go check out the X-ray picture if you haven't seen it. His jaw broke like right in half, right below one of his teeth. So one of his teeth popped out. And that's how he lost it. And I don't know if you guys remember, but he also had 4 teeth knocked out when he fought Paul Buentello. They took his mouthpiece off in between rounds, and they had to dig out his teeth from his fucking mouthpiece. So Struve's had at least 5 teeth that I count knocked out in the octagon. Love watching you fight, kid. Can't wait till you get back in there. Mark Hunt, I hope you get another big name and just knock him out too.
Indeed. Also, a little bit of breaking news. John Fitch signing with the World Series of Fighting. I think most of us expect that after Bellator turning him down. But Fitch will assumedly be one of the headline people at World Series of Fighting, probably be their welterweight champ. Good for John Fitch. And we will go to the main event, light heavyweight bout. Both guys who fought at middleweight in their last event and now are fighting at light heavyweight. Vanderlei Silva and Brian Stann, early candidate for Fight of the Year. Just a couple of guys brawling. I mean, both of them were dropped numerous times. Stann and Vanderlei both stood in the pocket and traded. And, God, talk about a brawl. This, especially after seeing 8 decisions in a fucking row, which, I don't know, Ray, you might need to check this for me. It might be the longest, for all the UFC cards there have ever been. I don't know if there have ever been 8 consecutive decisions, but there were at UFC on Fuel, and this was nice after seeing 8 in a row that went to the judges. Just trading. 4:08 into the second round, Vanderlei finishes the fight. What was a war? What did you guys think of the fight? It's, I am positive all of you are going to say you loved it, because this is a fight that was unquestionably good. It was awesome. This fight doesn't put either guy really into any sort of conversation of a title shot, but, it's good seeing Vanderlei Silva still in this game. I guess Vanderlei is going to stay at 205. I'm not sure if he stays at 205. Shit, I'm trying to think, mate. I really can't think. No one's popping in my head. They'll put him up against someone who will brawl. And no one's really popping in my head. What did you guys think of the fight? What's next for Vanderlei?
Oh man, Jake, you said you thought we were all gonna say we loved this fight. Well, guess what? This fight made me sick.
Fuck you.
Disgusted. A week ago today, we were all assembled here, gathered here on this podcast, this St-Pierre MMA podcast.
Should I start playing the Unsolved Mysteries music?
Yeah, you should kick it, man, because I do have to remind you guys, a week ago, gentlemen, we were on this very podcast making our predictions for the Vanderlei Silva versus Brian Stann fight, and I told you guys exactly what was going to happen. I told you Brian Stann was going to take a dive and he was going to go out on a fake knockout. And everybody laughed at me. And now that we are a week later, and you all saw it with your own eyes, you're still in denial about it. I understand that. You don't want to think, something like the UFC, MMA could be rigged. But it happens, guys. I didn't call it out of nowhere. I didn't predict that out of nowhere, guys. You all saw it happen. It was bullshit. Brian Stann comes out uncharacteristically just swinging away, carelessly, recklessly. That was warning number 1, and then, Vanderlei starts throwing head kicks in the middle of all that and whatever. It was bullshit from the start. I saw it, I smelled the work, but, at least, I don't know what they were holding over Brian Stann to make him take the stop. I don't know how much they paid him. Maybe it was a blackmail situation. You never know these days what lengths, the powers that be are going to, but, I just, Brian Stann, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They probably had your balls, they had you by the balls, son, and I understand sometimes that happens. You were also born in Japan. Maybe part of you, just been loyal to them the entire time. I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's time to get it together. I saw his tweet. He said he was going to give MMA a rest and forget about it. That's the word on the street.
I don't know what Ramsey was talking about, but this fight was amazing. Something Jake touched on about all the decisions. The one that jumped to mind straight away was the UFC on Fuel TV Franklin versus Lee card, where we had 7 decisions in a row, and then the last 2 fights had finishes. So that's the closest one I can think of to what you were saying. There was a card years and years ago where they had 3 title fights on the main card, and all 3 of them went to decision. They were boring as hell. And then 2 other fights went to decision as well. So there was 5. That was a really bad event. That was a long time ago. But yeah, back to this. I thought this was an amazing fight. I mean, literally, both guys come out and just stood there and traded. It's what they're both known for. They both like to stand and bang. Silva's chin, again, it just seems to have got better. How did he not go out? There's times where he went down, I thought it was it, and it wasn't. And then when he dropped standing that round 2 and come in and finished off, it was like watching, especially after the street hunt, it was like being back in the old days of Pride. I've said it before. What's next for Vanderlei? Some people say they want him to retire. I don't want to see him retire. If he wants to carry on fighting, I'm happy to carry on watching him fight. When he fights like that, who doesn't want to see him fight? For me now, Vanderlei Silva's in the stage of his career where he gets super fights now. He only fights the big names, the guys that are going to complement his style, win or lose. He doesn't want someone who's going to come in and lie on him for 15 minutes. So it's going to be someone who's going to stand with him. Now, there's been a fight that should have happened a while ago that didn't happen. It would have been a rematch, but I think the time's right now. Let's see Vanderlei Silva versus Vitor Belfort 2. That's the fight I want to see.
Ramses, I got to say, you're my boy, and I got respect for you, but damn it, do I hate you for calling that work last week, because I remembered that work. And when I was going to watch this fight, I saw that first round, and I said, that's the fucking craziest round I've ever seen in MMA history, quite possibly. That was pure insanity. And then in the back of my mind, I heard Ramsey saying, it's a work. And I was like, no, it can't be. But I kept watching the fight, and it fucking went to a second round for no reason. I don't know how that went to a second round. I don't know. Brian Stann should have won that fight, and he didn't. I'm not saying I'm getting on that work conspiracy. I'm just saying, damn it, Ramses, you planted that seed of doubt. And that fucking fight was so good it made me suspicious. I'm going to watch that fight right now. I'm going to put it on in the laboratory where P-Money broadcasts from. I'm going to rewatch it as we speak. God damn it. It was an excellent round. It was good for nostalgia. I mean, Vanderlei headlining in Japan, a UFC card. It was fantastic. The Japanese crowd, they fucking loved it. It was a good show. What's next for either of them? I mean, I don't know how long either of them are for the sport, quite frankly. That's really all you can say about that. I mean, it seems for the past couple of years, really, Vanderlei's just kind of been sticking around for those big, those big legends fights that may not mean so much in the rankings. But, yeah, I think they may stick around for a couple more fights, and we'll see some more entertainment.
I have to agree with almost exactly what Patrick said there about the Ramses thing. It was also in the back of my head thinking, and it did feel like a work. I didn't want to say it because I'd hate the idea that there was a work, but it is in the back of my mind. I don't think Vanderlei should quit right now. I think the Vitor Belfort fight does make sense. Vanderlei's chin has been holding up. I think it's a miracle that some of these guys have worked out how to improve their chin. I didn't think it was possible, and I think it will be exposed. Vitor Belfort will crack that thing and knock him out. But maybe, just maybe, it was a work. I can't tell you. I don't know what's going to happen, but Vanderlei's not going to. I think I heard a joke on Twitter about Tom Watson and Vanderlei. Tom Watson called out Vanderlei, and Vanderlei's reply was to Wikipedia who Tom Watson was, and I think that kind of sums that up.
Yeah, that was very, very different as far as notoriety levels for Watson and Vanderlei Silva. And how about Ramses? Looks like you're recruiting a couple members into the conspiracy theory. I would be lying if I didn't think the same thing in the back of my head. I think you jaded us all, but either way, it was a great fight. And Vanderlei Silva with a victory. Brian Stann, I think, what is he coming off? 2 losses now? I think his last fight, his last fight was Bisping. He's lost 3 of his last 4. They'll probably keep him around because he really has become a big figure in the UFC, commentating, being part of the shows. They'll give him a easy fight to win next. But, I guess that does it for UFC on Fuel 8. Before we get to the news, it's time for Guess That Tweet, hosted this week by Ramses. I'm going to be the only one representing the MMA podcast. I'm going for my 8th title defense like GSP, going for number 9. Patrick Ray and Jay will be going for wins 4, 3, and 2, respectively. And, looking to the Team MMA Mentals looking to make it 13-8. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I literally was just sprinting all around my house to do laundry. But, Ramses, Guess That Tweet. It's all you, bro.
I'm here, gentlemen. I just want to say good luck to everybody out there. This is I have no bias right now. Actually, I don't remember who the current champion is, who won it last week. If you guys could refresh my memory.
John Fitch on Twitter.
J Jeans. J Dirty Blue Jeans.
All right, Jay. All right, congratulations. Congratulations, J Jeans. Let's see if you can repeat or not. I'm coming at you guys with some tweets. I'll start out with the first one. Are you guys ready? I will just blast it away right now.
Gia.
Here we go. Quote, forget about all the reasons why something may not work. You only need to find one good reason why it will. Was it Rich Franklin, Rashad Evans, Tito Ortiz, or Vitor Belfort?
Right, I'm going to go with Rashad Evans.
Good tweet, good group in there. Could be any one of these guys, really. I'll swing at the curveball. I'll take Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, I have it between Evans and Franklin. I don't see Ortiz doing it. I don't see Vitor doing it. He's always talking in Portuguese. Tito's bitching about Cyborg. I'll go with Rich Franklin.
I personally have no idea, but I know that Jake's pretty good at this game, so I'm going to go with Rich Franklin.
Excellent choices, gentlemen. It was not Tito Ortiz. It was not Rashad Evans. And it was not Rich Franklin. It was Vitor Belfort.
I'm calling a fix.
No points.
I'm sorry, guys. You guys are disappointing me here. Wow.
This is work.
That was my first one. I thought that was the easiest one. That's why it was first. Wow. All right. Well, Jesus. You guys all. Yeah, man. You guys are looking like Rashad Evans right now. And Tito. Here's the next tweet. Here's the next tweet, gentlemen. All right. Let's see if maybe somebody is awake right now. One of you, please. Quote, I'm going to a horse race to support my brother and professor, Renzo Gracie.
Alistair Overeem.
Early in the AM at Abu Dhabi. Was it Roger Gracie, Big John McCarthy, Rashad Evans, or Kira Gracie?
Right, so you had Kira, you had Rashad, you had... I don't think Overeem was an answer. Somebody threw me off there by saying Overeem. Right, who else was there?
It was Roger Gracie, Big John McCarthy, Rashad Evans, and Kira Gracie, or Kyra Gracie. I'm not sure.
I'm going to go with Roger Gracie. Go on then.
I'm just gonna go. I'm just basing this on who I think I would most likely bump into at a horse race, and I'll go with Big John McCarthy.
I go with Kira Gracie. What do women love? Horses. There it is.
I'm going to go with Big John as well. That was my first thought, Big John McCarthy.
All right, gentlemen. It was not Kira Gracie or Kyra Gracie. It was not. It was not Hodger Gracie. And it was not Big John McCarthy. You guys stink. It was Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans.
What the fuck are you on about?
I said Rashad in the last round. Do I get a point for that?
Wow, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going to happen here now. I mean, dude, do I just become the champion? What's happening, guys?
No,
I think if it goes zeros for 5 rounds, the host wins.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, well, here we go again. Maybe you guys put down the crack pipe for just a second here and focus. This next tweet is, quote, knowing how hard the fighters work and how badly they want to win, it's always so hard seeing a buddy come up short in MMA. Was it Kenny Florian, Bas Rutten, Chris Weidman, or Frankie Edgar?
I'll go for Bas Rutten.
Ooh, tough shit. Gun to my head, Ken Flo.
Yeah, Ken Flo came to mind first for me, just because as far as when it comes to like the greatest fighters who never won a championship, you gotta put Flo in there. I mean, he was a great fighter at lightweight for a long time, beat a lot of people. I think he fought in 3 or 4 title fights, but never was able to bring home the gold. So I guess, yeah, I'll go with Ken Flo.
Well, I did want to say Bas Rutten, but I'm going to also get on the Kenny Florian never winning a belt champion.
Gay.
All right.
Somebody tweeted about someone else, so being Ken Flo with that information makes no sense.
All right, well, I think we got everybody in, right? So, here is the result here on that one. It was not Chris Weidman. It was not Frankie Edgar. It was not Bas Rutten. It was Kenny.
Yeah. Sorry, Ray. You suck ass at this
Jump
game.
on my bandwagon.
So we finally have some points on the board here. We got Patrick and Jake and Jay with 1 point. It's this is tweet number 4, gentlemen. So we're getting down to it. All right, guys. Quote. About to spend 9 hours sitting between 2 strangers. Not looking forward to it. At least I will be home, though. Was it Diego Sanchez, Evan Dunham, Brian Caraway, or Brad Tavares?
You cut in and out there. What was the tweet? I heard who you said. I couldn't hear the tweet.
Mm-hmm. The tweet was, quote, about to spend 9 hours sitting between 2 strangers. Not looking forward to it. At least I will be home, though.
From the names you said, the one person I want to see sit between 2 strangers, because I hate him the most out of that list, is Evan Dunham.
Hey, you know what, Jay? Just because you're always taking my answer, I'm taking your answer, Evan Dunham.
You know what? Good choice. I don't like to cut a Brian Caraway's jib. I'll pick that bull.
Obviously, this is referencing the flight back from Japan. I'm pretty sure Brian would have been sitting next to me, Shaq. I'll go for Brad Tavares. I know he tweeted about jet lag and stuff.
All right, guys. Well, it was not Brad Tavares. It was not Diego.
Someone else.
Sorry. It was not Brad Tavares. It was not Diego Sanchez. It was not Brian Caraway.
Yeah.
It was Evan Dunham.
Me and Jake are ripping this thing up.
Right?
You better win, Jay.
Jake?
John Fitch, I'm aiming
No,
for
I want
number
Jake to
2.
win. If Jay doesn't win, I'm throwing away that battle pass.
You want Jake to win, right?
John Fitch, I'm not anybody that good. Let's calm down.
We have a 2-way tie, we have a tie here, Jake and Jay. Patrick's got 1 point, but here we go. Tweet number 5, guys. Here we go, you sons of bitches. Quote, just finished a conditioning session using the training mask. That thing is no joke, especially when you're already in high altitude. Was it Bas Rutten, Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit, or Jake Ellenberger?
I can't imagine it being Ellenberger because his cardio's not great. I'm going to go for Carlos Condit.
I'll go with Bass.
I know Boss comes out with his own training mask, so I think that might be a red herring. It was Condit, Ellenberger, and who else?
Condit, Ellenberger, Johnny Hendricks, and Bas Rutten.
Condit, Ellenberger, and Hendricks. I've seen a few of Hendricks' training videos. I don't know if I've seen him use a mask. I'll rule him out. Ellenberger, Condit. Both of them conditioned the hell. I don't know. I'll go with Condit.
The only guy who trains at high altitude out of all four names you mentioned is Condit. So it's by process of elimination.
That's true. That's true.
Got to.
Well, the answers are in, gentlemen, and it was not Jake Ellenberger. It was not Johnny Hendricks. It was not Bas Rutten. It was Carlos Condit.
I get a consolation. Woohoo!
John Fitch again.
No kidding, right? Is that a wrap? Is that... Do we have a winner now? Is that what I'm hearing?
I've got a tiebreaker between James and Dave.
No, we're going to overtime.
All right. Well, I'm ready for that shit. And I saved the hardest for the overtimes, you sons of bitches. Let's see here. Well, so it's between Jake and Jay. Do you guys want a hard question, or do you guys want...
Just ask whichever one you want to work. Jay, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go. I'm second. I'm John Fish.
All right, I'll go first. Jay will go second. Come up, whichever one you want to throw at us. Bring it on, cocksucker.
All right, you sons of bitches. This is it. God bless you all for stepping up. It's real bravery here on display. The tweet is, quote, I demand Mark Hunt steps in to fight Junior Sagano dos Santos. This could be a real-life Rocky Balboa story right here. And I will note that they used, the actual Twitter handles instead of they didn't write out the names. Now, was it Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chiesa, Brian Caraway, or Brad Tavares?
Shit, I could see all four of them saying it. Oh, man, why do I have to go first? I'm just gonna go with who I see tweeting the most. I'm always seeing Mike Mav up on the Twitter, so Chiesa, fuck it.
Who are the names again? I only really heard like Brian Caraway. He never tweets. Mike Mav's out question. Sagano was in the tweet. I can't remember who else was there, but I think that Mike Mav tweets the most.
Brad Tavares and Eddie Alvarez.
Mike Mav tweets the most out of all those four, so I probably would have gone Mike Mav as well. So for that reason, I'll probably just go for the sake of it, Eddie Alvarez. I think I've lost though.
Well, guys, it was not Brian Caraway, it was not Brad Tavares, and it was not Eddie Alvarez. Jay, you should have gone with it. It was Michael Chiesa.
Oh, I feel bad. You should have gone first, brother.
It's
tied.
I'm John. After number two. Never been.
You were like calling it up until you like literally were like, yeah, I could win, but I'm not gonna pick the one I think is right, so I'll go ahead and lose and pick this. Well, Jake, Jesus Christ.
I can anyway, Jake, can I? I don't get to pick this.
You couldn't win once he's picking. Jake, do you want to go Bama this weekend? I've got a spare ticket, I've got a spare press pass, no one's going.
Yeah, I would love to, Ray. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I'll be over there.
I should have gone first.
The real champion. 9 championships. I'm going for double digits next time, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick will be the host. Patrick, will you be around next week?
Wait a second. Breaking news. This just in. Next week, Thursday, March 14th, 2013. That's your boy P Money's great 28.
Oh,
it's my big birthday next
shit.
week.
We will. We'll have somebody fill in. We'll figure it out. But yeah. We'll have Chris.
I still may do the damn thing. Who knows?
Ooh, dedication. But yeah, I'd just like to thank, as always, my parents. They're beautiful people. I'd like to thank who else? I'd like to thank the based God. I'd like to thank Ray for being a beautiful
I'm going to
person.
pull your eye hole. Is your girlfriend a bitch like you?
Jay for giving me the title, basically.
Yes.
John Fitch to the end.
All right. Enough with Guess That Tweet. We'll get into the news. The thing I've been seeing most often, transgender fighter trying to get her woman's MMA license. Should it be allowed? Obviously, the two arguments are, well, you have one side, she's transgender. She's a woman now. She should be able to fight women's MMA. The other side, she's a guy who had her genitalia removed. She shouldn't be able to fight women. What do you guys think? I know it's controversial. It's it's not popular really to take either position, but I don't think it should. It should be allowed. Look, I know transgender people. I'm cool with them. If they want to be called a he, a she, whatever you want to be called, I will respect that. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a clipboard. I'm not giving you a physical. Whatever you want to identify as, I'm cool with. But it steps over the line when you want to start fighting people of the gender that you identify with. I don't, as much as I respect you, if you're born a man, I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what you do. You should never be allowed to fight a woman. That's a line that shouldn't be crossed. I heard Rogan went on a rant about it on a recent podcast. I haven't heard it. I really want to get to hearing that, but I know he took a stance similar to mine. What do you guys think? Ray, I'll pass it off to you.
Well, obviously, we're talking about, she competing with other women in MMA. Surely this has arisen before, but not necessarily for MMA, for other sports, because it should be the same regardless of what the sport is. So if it was for tennis, we'd be having the same argument. If it was for, other sport, well, athletics would be having the same argument. She's legally a woman now, so really she should be able to compete with women if that's what she can't compete with the men because she's not a male. She's legally classed in the eyes of the law. She's classed as a woman, so equal opportunities and all of that. I would say she should be allowed to do it. She still have to make weight the same way. So yeah, I think she should be able to do it.
I got to start off and just say, I'm a supporter of the LGBT. The whole crowd, got friends, family members, coworkers, who are gay. I don't really know any transgender people, though. To the best of my knowledge, though, like Jake said, it's still, if you're a man and you want to, quote unquote, become a woman, you basically just have your penis chopped off. It's turned inside out and fabricated in a certain way to replicate a vagina. I don't know what else is involved in the process, but you don't have ovaries, you don't have female reproductive organs. You're not a woman in that respect, and you're just pumping yourself with hormones to further turn yourself into a woman. I don't know. This is such a gray area. Really to. I want anybody who wants to fight in MMA to be able to fight, but it's just so hard. It's so hard to call. Where can you put this person to fight and make it fair? I'm just not sure. I can't even call it, really.
Really, I don't have an opinion. I don't think it's fair. I think guys shouldn't be allowed to fight women, whether you've changed your gender or what. The issue is big. I wouldn't know what woman would want to fight another woman who's a guy. I'm cool with transgender, just like Jake. We did that one thing back that one time with that transgender person, so you can't.
It was so fun.
I know, exactly. As for As for her fighting, him, is she a her? Yeah, she's a her. I don't have a clue. I'm glad I'm not a member of the athletic commission, or I don't think any athletic commission, a good and proper one, will allow her to fight anytime soon. I don't know. It's an interesting debate, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm glad I'm not a member of the athletic commission.
Whoa. We'll see what happens with it. Call it a her, a he, or a she. Don't say it. Come on.
Okay, he, she. Is that all right?
Listen, whatever this thing is, I'm kind of torn myself. I gotta tell you the truth. But basically, it comes down to, if they're gonna do this, it's either all in or all out here. If you're going to allow a transgender fucking fighter, you're going to allow people to switch sexes and then compete against it. If you're going to allow that, you've got to allow just men and women to just straight up fight each other. I mean, what's the fucking difference here? This is bullshit. I understand that, it's a gray area. We don't know too much about it, but I mean, just the fact that to go transgender, you have to constantly be taking like hormone injections and shit, elevating this level, that level. For that reason alone, you have no reference point to even regulate it according to the commission rules. You don't know. How are you gonna? No, it's either you go all out, just allow anybody to fight anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, which is a pretty good point here. At the end of the day, if any woman wants to fight this Fox person, this transgender fighter, now they know straight up who they're fighting. They know what the deal is, and they are signing a contract to fight that person. So yeah, if you want to fight somebody that's transgender and you sign up to fight them, I'm all for it. But as far as commissioning, licensing it, and trying to oversee that, I think there's a problem there because of the fact that you're just fucking with hormones. And how are you going to regulate that when you can't even regulate normal TRT right now? Word on the street.
I just want to say that I'm very pleased with all of us for not making one joke about Uriah Faber, Liz Carmouche, or Kenny Florian. They're all very easy jokes to make, and congratulations, guys.
I feel like a fight against Chris Cyborg would make sense. Moving on, we have we have an injury, quote unquote, an injury to Alistair Overeem. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. We'll fight Junior Dos Santos in the summer. Apparently, he had a quadriceps tear. It started off as an undisclosed injury. Now it's a quad tear. I have speculated that he's going to need 4 to 6 weeks to cycle off. Recover from an injury. Obviously I'm joking. Do I really think he's cycling off? No, I think he's smarter than that. But maybe. And he is going to fight Junior Dos Santos this summer. Apparently Mark Hunt offered the fight to fill in for Overeem and fight Junior Dos Santos. He turned it down. According to Dana White, Ramsey's our own word on the street. We heard that Dana White tweeted at you and was saying, no, it wasn't because of the money. He turned it down. Basically, he called you a moron. He insinuated Mark Hunt was scared. Kind of crazy. I'm not really sure what's going on. And the questions I want to throw out there: do you believe Alistair Overeem saying that he has an injury? Why did Mark Hunt turn down the fight? Did he really turn down the fight? Was he offered the fight? I'll start off with P. Money, mo problems. What's going on with all this craziness at heavyweight?
Well, Jake, I'm glad you asked. I will answer all those questions and more, sir. Do I believe Alistair Overeem? I do believe that he tore his quadriceps because, once you start abusing your body with that horrible synthetic testosterone and, the cycling on and off, you're more prone to injury. You're more prone to muscle and ligament damage. So do I believe him? Yeah, sure, why not? It's a feasible excuse. Why did Mark Hunt turn it down? I think my boy Ramsey's was just on point. It's the money. Mark Hunt, he's not afraid. He's close to Fedor's level in just the level of not giving a fuck. I mean, he doesn't care. He's too fucking badass. I have lots of props and lots of respect for Mark Hunt. He just doesn't care. yeah, and it's going to be on like Donkey Kong in the summertime when Overeem gets handled by Junior Dos Santos.
Sorry, I didn't think that was me. I think it's all been said before already earlier in the podcast. It's money, and that's what it is. Mark Hunt, everything that Patrick said, everything that everybody else is going to be said, everything that everybody else is going to say, it's been said. Junior Dos Santos is going to knock out Overeem, and I'd prefer to see Hunt versus JDS, but whatever happens.
Yeah, Overeem tearing his quadriceps or whatever the fuck. Do I believe it? Hell no. Here's the word on the street, all right? Overeem was sitting up there in his fucking library just reading the latest Tolstoy when he heard a knock on the door and he knew they were coming to piss test him, all right? So he jumped out of that fucking window and he was like, oh, my quads or whatever. That's what happened here, all right? That's what's crack-a-lackin', as Joey Diaz would say. God bless him. Basically, he just bought himself an extra month and he skipped a test here is what I'm trying to say to you people. It's another conspiracy, but you heard it here first on the MMA podcast. That is the word on the street. Mark Hunt, he wanted to hold out for some more money, I'm guessing. Uncle Dana, you cut a promo on me on Twitter. You called me a moron, but I forgive you. I understand business is business. We'll settle up later. Word on the street.
Wow, it's a shame we're not going to see the fight like we thought. It's obviously going to be a big fight. I'm one of these. I'm a bit naive, I suppose. I take someone on their word. If he says he's injured, then I believe he's injured. I think it's not the same Alistair Overeem that we've seen anyway. Not since he stopped taking whatever he was taking. He ran out of steam against Antonio Silva. Mark Hunt, I was surprised because I thought Mark Hunt went out on record and said he wanted that fight, and all of a sudden he said he didn't want the fight. The money thing makes sense, but I still think he'd make a lot of money anyway off sponsorship. The thing is, if he's got on a contract, the sooner he has those fights, if he's winning people like JDS, he's going to get so much more money in his next fight once his contract runs out. So even that, looking at the big picture, you take your fight, you earn your 12 grand, which isn't a lot for what he's getting. He'll get shitloads of money off sponsorship, and then if he beats JDS, when his next contract comes around, the UFC ain't going to want to let him go, and he'll get a pop of money then.
For sure, yeah. We will see, Overeem will be back. Hopefully we'll see Hunt faces. Moving on, we will get to the conference call in a moment, but first, the first bit of Nick Diaz stuff we want to talk about. He says he's up for potential moves to middleweight or lightweight. Kind of crazy, he's fought most of his career, or I guess all of his career at welterweight. I don't know if he's planning on losing to George St-Pierre or what, but he's saying he's up to move up or down. I would assume, I guess he could move either way, most fighters move down, so I'd assume he'd move to lightweight and just not fight his brother. I'm not really sure. Kind of weird, a guy saying he'll move to middleweight or lightweight before he challenges for the welterweight belt. Should he do it? What do you guys think? Why is he coming out and saying this all of a sudden? Jay, what do you think?
I think lightweight's interesting. I think Benson Henderson. I think even though Nate Diaz is always going to be looked at as the worst Diaz brother. So I think that fight's interesting. Middleweight, I think he gets manhandled. I think it's very similar to Rory McDonald and Stun Gun. I think the same sort of thing would happen to Nick Diaz. I think people would be able to outmuscle him. The Diaz brothers have always had this slim build. They've never been the biggest. I don't think moving's up the right idea. I would like to see Silva land a knee and, just knee to the solar plexus and finish that fight. But that's how it would end. Whatever he thinks, I think he should stay at welterweight. But if he wants to move, I think he's an idiot. But if it's money, it's money.
Well, Jake, you're right to have a little suspicion here. Nick Diaz already talking about moving weight classes before the fight with GSP even fucking happens. And I hate to bust another conspiracy theory out on you guys, but this is a pretty good warning.
Up the music?
Well, yeah, I think you should, man, because this is a typical warning sign that you'll see when a false flag is about to occur here. Nick Diaz already talking about what he's going to do if he loses and moving different weight classes. It's an indicator here, guys. He's just he's fluffing his nest. This is typical what we see. My guess is he's already had the meeting with maybe Lorenzo, and the phone call from Dana and Lorenzo there, where they're like, listen, this is actually what's going to happen during the fight here, and this is the deal. It happens, guys. It's sad to see, but you got to keep that GSP money train flowing. You can't stop that train for any reason at all. And Nick Diaz, he'll get his own, he'll get paid, That's why he brought up how, he wasn't pampered, he wasn't rich. He brought that up several times. There's a reason for that, but they'll take care of him this time. That's the word on the street.
I feel this is being taken a bit out of context, because what he didn't actually say he would move up to those or down to those weight classes. What he was saying is he'd move for the super fights, because he was referencing the fact that GSP was asked if he'd still like to fight Anderson Silva, and he said, at the minute, I'm not thinking about Anderson Silva, I'm thinking about Nick Diaz. I don't look beyond one opponent. And Nick Diaz said, well, I do look beyond one opponent, because I'm looking to always get my career to the next stage. And if I was offered a fight with Anderson Silva, I would take that fight, because that would be a big fight for me. He said, and then he kind of said something like, hell, I'd even look down to lightweight and fight Benson Henderson, or I'd fight for the 155 title. So he wasn't looking to move weights to work his way up. He was saying he would take the super fight, because he knows there's money in the super fight. That's all he was opening up for. He's not going to move to lightweight and make a run at the title. He's going to, if the offer's there for him to fight Benson Henderson, he'll take that fight. He's not going to move to middleweight and work his way up. If the offer's there for him to fight Anderson Silva, he will take that fight. And I think the whole thing of him moving up and down has just been taken a bit out of context of what he actually said on the call.
Ray, you hit it right on the head right there. I'll take it from you. You were listening in on that conference call just today when it was happening. Nick Diaz, don't sleep on Nick Diaz. He's only answering the questions that people are asking. He's not coming out and saying this. When I interview fighters, sometimes I'll ask him the same thing. People are doing it these days, moving up and down. That's just him answering questions people are asking. I can't wait. I'm hoping and praying when I go to sleep that he just handles GSP and just puts a clinic on him, boxes him up, chokes him out on the ground, does his typical Nick Diaz thing. I see it happening. At least when I go to sleep at night, that's what I'm dreaming of. That cash cow, that won't stop. GSP, if he were to lose, the build up to him on the comeback trail, that'd probably get more pay-per-view buys than anything, because then maybe people would believe he might finish someone.
Oh, that's up to me. Sorry. I thought Jay still, I was looking at the wrong one. It is being taken out of context, but at the same time, the fact that he's looking ahead, whether it be super fights, whether it be moving weight classes, he's looking past the title fight right in front of his face. Even if he's asked the same question, the fact he's entertaining it and thinking, oh yeah, I'd move up, I'd move down. No, worry about this fight first, son. I did want to talk about that conference call, but first I want to talk about Tough real quick. Episode 7, we haven't really been talking about The Ultimate Fighter much in the show. How are you guys enjoying the season? I think it's been awesome. Team Sonnen's been doing very well. You had Jimmy Quinlan defeating Clint Hester, who was, now both of Jones's big guys he was big on, Clint Hester and Bubba McDaniel. Both of them out of the tournament. Tor Trong, the guy we originally thought was a tough beast, out of the tournament. Lots of stuff coming out. Uriah Hall sort of separating himself as the dark horse of the group. What are your guys' impressions of The Ultimate Fighter? I'll start off with Ramses. We've been doing that Tough review show. It's been a lot of fun. How are you liking this season?
The Ultimate Fighter Season 17 is, the ratings don't lie. It is the greatest Ultimate Fighter season that I've personally seen, I have to say. Granted, I wasn't there for one, and the epic one where Rampage broke the door and whatnot. But the season is great. It's got 1 million+ viewers every week. doing something right here. They took a new angle, and the fights are fucking awesome. Last year was total piss. This year, we have a complete 180, complete turnaround. I'm loving it so far. Team Sun is, of course, Team Darkside, is ahead on points. That's no surprise there. I did predict that. So it'll keep up, and I'm hearing, I'm just going to speculate here, that the episodes are going to get even more fucked up from here on out. The fights are getting even better. Word on the street.
Well, I've watched every season of Ultimate Fighter, being the MMA geek that I am, and I have to say this is probably the worst season. I'm joking. This season's been fantastic. I'm one of them that love every season anyway, but this has been an excellent season. The fights have been excellent. It seems like at the minute each week, whoever should win is not winning. With Bubba being choked out, with Tor being knocked out, and then Jimmy Quinlan out grappling their number one pick. I mean, the Quinlan Hester fight was brilliant. And I really hope after that fight that Clinton Hester gets one of the wildcard slots, because I thought he looked really good in that fight. And, the difference in the end was the fact that he was able to outmuscle his way out of these grappling positions in the first round. And even when he was being taken down, the amount of punches and elbows he was landing from awkward angles was just fun. I mean, he was constantly busy. And they said in that first round, who'd you score it to? You had the takedowns of Quinlan, and you had all the strikes of Hester. And I actually think in that first round, I'd have given it to Hester because of everything he landed. But, you could see arguments for both sides. But yeah, it was an absolute brilliant fight. It's been a brilliant season. I'm looking forward to seeing the fight next week with Zach Cummings. I mean, he won his fight really quickly. And he was one of the guys I'd heard of going into the house. I'm hoping to see somebody take Uriah Hall down and submit him, because he's just getting too big for his boots. And I'm hoping that Luke Barnett's in the final, because obviously he's UK.
Zach Cummings with the fastest knockout in Ultimate Fighter history, if I may add.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even get the opportunity to watch the Ultimate Fighter anymore. It's a shame. I generally see the season debut, the episode where they have all the fights thrown into one. It's a good time. I have caught a couple episodes of this season. It's been good, but you know what I do? I DVR that shit just so that they can get their ratings. I DVR it. Maybe I get a chance to watch the fight. Either way, I delete it, make some room, and I download the Word on the Street podcast, and that's how I catch up with all my Ultimate Fighter happenings.
Yeah, man.
And I love it.
God bless you, son.
Jay?
Yeah, it's me, isn't it? I'm almost like Ray. I haven't seen every season, but he has. I haven't seen TUF season 8 or season 9. I am enjoying this season. It's nowhere near as good as season 11 was, with Nick Ring, Constantino Philippou, the rest of those sexy beasts. However, I am enjoying it. I think the guys should be successful, as Sonen's been saying. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the house who have a ton of potential. This last week, I don't know how you score that first round, but the finish is what he got. I mean, I don't think Jimmy Quinlan actually threw one punch from the top position. I'm quite statistical based, and when I rewatched that fight, I think he tried to throw about 3, but nothing happened. In an entire round, trying to throw 3 punches, and you guys said that Hendo and Machida was boring. I don't know what you guys are on about, but
at least Quinlan got a finish.
Well, just go away. Just go away. Hendo hasn't finished a fight in a year and a half because he's been injured.
What about the takedowns that he was doing as well? Were they not worth anything?
Mm-hmm. They were actually. You have a point, but there are more boring fights than Hendo versus Machida. I can tell you that one. Yeah, I'm enjoying the season. I'm looking forward to how things go. And I'm interested in seeing. I think we all know one of the finalists. So I'm really interested in knowing who the second one is. And that's for that reason alone, I'll always keep watching TUF.
Yeah, we're all pretty interested in
both of the finalists.
Yeah. Ramses knows them both, but nope, Uriah Hall will face somebody. Moving on to the conference call, UFC 158, we said we'd touch on that. Kind of some craziness. You had 10 minutes and Nick Diaz going wild. It started off with It started off pretty innocently with the reporter asking, and Dana said, you haven't showed for some camera shots, what's up? He's like, I don't care if someone's in my back seat, I give less of a shit. I don't like not knowing when I'm going to be filmed. All of a sudden I'm being filmed. He had George over there with powder on his nose. And he's being pampered. George is pampered. I'm not pampered. I do all my own taxes. I don't have some guy running my Twitter. George is fucking pampered, and I do all my own shit.
209.
But yeah, I was expecting a dark GSP response over there, but no. What did you hear? What did you think?
Okay, Nick Diaz. You call me out. I show on the podcast. I'll be here for you.
You're pampered. I fucking hate you, but I respect you, George. I respect you, but I hate you. Fuck you, George.
Yeah, you talk a lot, but what have you accomplished in your life? It's been nothing. Me, I've been a champion of the UFC. I beat Carlos Condit after my knee being fucked up very severely. I come back and train. You have no idea how much I struggle with my health. My health is very important to me, but I have it back now. Nick Diaz, you call me a motherfucker. You insult my English accent, the way I speak. I speak better English than you, Nick Diaz. You son of a bitch. I'm going to win this fucking fight, and that's all I got to say. I will pass it over to Ray, unless you got something, Nick Diaz. Nick fucking Diaz.
I hope so, motherfucker. If I had that much money, I'd be pampering myself. We're all fucked up. Shit. Don't call me an uneducated fool. I'm not stupid. I can tell what's what. Stockton, motherfucker.
Okay. Bring the education next time, okay? You fool.
Fuck you, George. I respect you.
Oh,
Ray.
no. Fuck you, Nick Diaz. Ray from MMA Mental. I love that show.
I think one of my highlights as well when he said, I was in my car and some 40-year-old soccer mum pulled up next to me saying, I hope GSP kicks your ass. That just had me in stitches.
I wish Diaz would have gotten out of his car and beaten the shit out of her. Sorry.
The whole conference call was just fantastic. I mean, Jake Ellenberger didn't need to be there. Carlos Condit spoke once, and the only thing they asked him was, who do you think is going to win out of Diaz and GSP? That's the only thing he got asked. Nothing about his own fight, and he's got a pretty big fight. Nate Marquardt didn't get asked anything. Hendricks got asked what he thought about Diaz saying that no wrestler should be fighting for the title, and Hendricks said, well, that's his opinion, but if anyone watches my fights, I don't wrestle, I'll strike anyway, and I'll knock people out, which has got a point, to be fair. But yeah, it was the Nick Diaz show. You didn't need anyone else there. Nick Diaz is just a one-man show. Just put him on. And to be fair, GSP rose to it as well. He was really getting in there, and he called him an uneducated fool. That was brilliant. And then he says, Nick was saying, who do you think you are to say that I deserve to have a beat down like I'm some low life scum? Oh, it was just fantastic. It was just it was comedy genius. They couldn't have scripted something as funny as that. And if you want to listen to the whole call, if you haven't listened to it yet, it is on MMAmental.com. So go and listen to it. It's brilliant.
No, you go first, Patrick. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. Terribly sorry, Jay. I was just going to say I have not got the chance to listen to it yet, but I certainly intend to head to MMAmental.com as I do for all my MMA news and check out the full press conference call. It's all up there. My man Ray getting that scoop.
I don't have much to say on it yet, as I haven't watched it. But yeah, I'll definitely go onto MMAmental.com to check it all out. Sounds pretty hilarious. I also heard something about some superhero stuff. I won't repeat the quote because I know you guys are also keen to listen to it. Whoever is listening to this, so I won't quote it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
People fucking want to hate. Like I'm a fucking bad guy. If anything, I'm a superhero trying to save y'all from boring-ass fights. Fuck you, George. Respect you.
You're going to have to save yourself from poverty, okay? Okay, my friend, okay? Anyway, the conference call was ridiculous, guys, if you haven't listened to it. Right after we're done here. Trust me, that's what you want to be listening to. Nick Diaz, his first couple answers are slow, and you're like, this is bullshit. Just trust me.
Hi, fucker.
Yeah. something happened, like some switch turned on and he went nuts. It was awesome. That's it. Word on the street.
Word on the fucking street. Time for the bonehead of the week. Let's cue it up. Alright, bonehead of the week. I'm sorry, Fallon Fox, I respect your choice to be transgender, but don't try and beat up some nice ladies. Come on, I mean, I don't care if she wanted to sprint, play cricket, play soccer, do anything, just don't beat the women up. Come on, Fallon Fox. Simple, concise, bonehead. Raymond?
Sorry, I got mute. My bonehead. It's the man who he probably has his biggest win, especially the biggest win recently, and he gets offered a huge fight. You know, you win this fight, your next fight is for the UFC heavyweight title, and you can demand whatever money you want. And he says no. Mark Hunt, why? Do it. JDS is a perfect matchup for you because you've shown you are one of the best strikers in the world. You are capable of knocking anyone out, including Junior Dos Santos. Please take the fight. For not taking the fight, Mark Hunt, you are my bonehead.
For me, it's the Black Zillions. Now, you're going to have to hear me out on this. It's not a bonehead of the week. This is the bonehead of the year so far. The camp is currently 1-8. The only guy who won out of it was Belfort. The guys have no wrestling coach. How can you expect to win an MMA without a wrestling coach? Mike Van Arnsdale left. That's the reason why they've been losing these fights. I could go through them all, but the most recent one was CR, who had no takedown defense. You want to know why? He doesn't have a wrestling coach. The other guys, Rashad, he couldn't take Little Nog down. Santiago, he got out-wrestled. Jimmo, he got out-wrestled. Staring got out-wrestled. Overeem didn't know what to do from the top position. Villafort struggled to get the fight to the ground. The only guys who have been successful in the entire camp are Rumble, but he hasn't fought a natural 205 pounder or even a wrestler, and Belfort fought Bisping, and that was a stand-up fight. These guys are awful. These guys, what are they doing? I don't have a clue. Oh man, I just don't know what to say. These guys, these are my bonehead, all of them. But mainly because we're doing bonehead of the week, I'm saying the Black Zillions. But CR was the guy who really highlighted it for me for this week.
Bone. My bonehead of the week is George St-Pierre. You son of a bitch, George, on the conference call today, you admitted that you have never tweeted in your life. Not one single fucking tweet. Your account is a fraud. It is a work. It's
you got
rigged.
People tweeting for you, George. I hate you.
Yep.
Fuck you. I love you.
That's right. He's got all these fans out there, all these dedicated just GSP diehards, thinking they're sending him messages, thinking he's reading them. He's not reading them. He's over there in that fucking dark place. He's in that basement, you know, just smacking hookers around, pulling teeth out.
People has no idea how dark I am inside my head sometime.
Yep, he's down there with a blender, making dead baby jokes. I'm talking that dark. Now listen, my bonehead of the week is George St-Pierre because he admitted that he doesn't use his Twitter account. He has no involvement with social media whatsoever. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking admitting this. I'm sure he's getting a call from Dana. If not already, it's coming soon. That was just plain stupid. But at least, you know, it frees up, you know, some chicks. Shout out to Alexis on Twitter. Maybe she'll realize how fake George St-Pierre is. Maybe these chicks will stop having crushes on his ass. Start dating the real heroes. You know what I'm saying? The people on the streets here, not the fake weirdos getting their noses powdered. Word on the street.
Damn. Well, my bonehead of the week is Rico Rodriguez. Word on the street is that he got busted in LA on a little DUI charge recently. Now, Rico Rodriguez, I gotta go back to Disney's epic movie, The Mighty Ducks, to find a term that would best describe Rico Rodriguez. And there's a line in the movie that I think applies to him. It's something to the effect of, you're not even a has-been, you're a never was. That's you now, Rico Rodriguez. Yeah, you had the UFC title once, back in the day. You won it, and then you got knocked out in your first fight as the champ. You got knocked out like a bum. You can never get back there. You got a bum's record. You're going on celebrity rehab, and now you're getting popped with the DUI out in LA. I mean, it's just such a perfect storm of cliches and boneheaded moves. You're my bonehead of the week, Rico Rodriguez.
Whew, I don't know who to choose out of all of those. I guess I'll go with Jay's choice of the Black Zillions. They haven't been doing well at all. And, yeah, they'll be my bonehead. Fuck it.
I'm going to go for GSP. I couldn't believe when someone called it and didn't use his Twitter. Talk about distancing yourself from the fans. So, yeah, my vote's for old GSP.
See, my original reaction when I first saw these guys, Fallon Fox, Mark Hunt, George St-Pierre, Rico, to be fair, I'd completely forgotten about the Rico incident and was like, what the hell has he done? Patrick summed it up pretty nicely. My GSP, my reaction to that, at first I was like, that's bullshit, I was a bit angry with it. Straight away unfollowed him. Then I thought to myself, how many other guys do it? There must be hundreds. I know that loads of other celebrities do it. So why are we all of a sudden, I guess it's because he publicly admitted it during a UFC press conference. Mark Hunt, it was all about money. So for that reason, I've got to go with Fallon Fox, I'm afraid.
I gotta go with Rico Rodriguez because at least none of these other boneheads, endangered other people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess on the face of it, he's the bonehead.
Well, I will have to go with Jay. The Black Zillions, they are the super camp that has not been. It's been an atrocious beginning to their legacy, if you will call it that.
And that makes the Black Zillions this week's Bonehead of the Week. Fallon Fox, GSP, and Rico Rodriguez getting a point. Mark Hunt. I actually almost went for Mark Hunt, which would have given everybody a point. But yeah, the Black Zillions are...
This is the first time since January that the Black Zillions have won anything. So
very true. Damn. That was MMA roasted level comedy. We got 4 fight announcements to talk about before we send it off. Looks like Ray will be able to be on board for the whole podcast this time. 3 fights for UFC 161, the other for 162. A couple of headliners. Joe Silva's really been kicking the meth hard. The first one we'll talk about, the first of 2 light heavyweight bouts we'll talk about. Shogun Rua taking on Little Nog. Rua coming off that loss against Alexander Gustafsson. Little Nog coming off a huge upset win against Hashad Evans. What do you think happens? I got Shogun. Shogun will make this a war, and when it comes to wars, I favor Shogun unless he's fighting a real good cat, and even though Little Nog just beat Hashad, I don't see him beating Shogun.
Well, I see him beating Shogun myself. I think that Little Nog, he's got a little more left at this point in the game as opposed to Shogun, and I don't know by how much, honestly, but something just tells me Little Nog's going to take this. He's got the great boxing, the jiu-jitsu's there. Both of these guys are fairly similar, although Shogun has more of a Muay Thai striking style. But it's going to be a great fight, hopefully, and I'll take Little Nog for the win.
I'm still tossing this fight up in my mind. I would have picked Shogun, but I hate picking Shogun. He's a very hard guy to pick with. He seems to like brawling more than he does being technical these days. And Little Nog, I think he'd be better in these exchanges. I don't think Shogun. It would turn into a boxing match, not a kickboxing match. And I think, right now I'm looking at Little Nog and thinking that I don't think I've ever picked Little Nog to win except for that Lewis Kane fight. I don't know. I'm going to go with Little Nog for now, but I really hope Shogun pulls it off. I can't stand Little Nog. Something about him.
I'll keep it short, Ray. Shogun versus Nog. This fight, I don't even know if I'm going to even watch it, man. It looks boring to me on paper. I think Shogun's done after watching his last performance. And Nog, I can't even tell those fools apart. Who do I got? I don't care. This fight, it looks like it's just going to be a money fight, a setup fight. These guys are like best friends or some shit. Who are they trying to kid? Not me. It ain't gonna happen with me. So, Ray, what do you think?
When these two fought originally, this was one of the best fights of its time. I mean, people talked about this fight and raved about this fight as a fight of the year for the year that it happened. I mean, this was a big fight. It literally stood there and traded, for the length of the fight. I think at that time it was a 20-minute fight in Pride. I'm excited for this fight. Nogueira's not the most exciting fighter to watch, but I think Shogun is. And win or lose, Shogun comes to fight every time and tends to bring the best out of his opponent. I think these two are going to stand and trade for 15 minutes. They're going to beat the shit out of each other. And I think Shogun's aggressiveness will be the difference, and I think he'll win a decision. But I think it's going to be an exciting decision. I can't wait to see this fight.
Yeah, I think people aren't giving Shogun enough credit. I feel like if he would have fought Alexander Gustafsson 10 times, he would have won 3 or 4 times. He is a warrior. People might disagree with that statement, but I still think Shogun has got a lot of fight left in him. 2 more guys, a guy probably he's the biggest question mark as far as how much fight he has left in him as far as the title picture at 205 pounds goes, and that's Dan Hendo Henderson. Getting old, I think he's about 38. Is he 38? I'll check that. But Dan Henderson will be taking on Rashad Evans at UFC 161. He's 42. Jesus Christ. 42 years old. Yeah, I thought he was past 40, but I didn't want to insult him on the 1-2 infinity chance he might be listening, or somebody who likes him might be listening. But yeah, Henderson, Rashad, UFC 161. It'll be a pretty interesting matchup. I would absolutely love to see Rashad Evans do his cute little, bob and weave and boxing and try and get pretty, and Henderson just land something devastating. It'll be interesting to see whose wrestling is superior. I'm leaning toward Rashad Evans just because of that domination he showed versus Phil Davis. Rashad Evans, I mean, it really speaks to the wrestling of John Jones. Rashad Evans put down Phil Davis, who's a top wrestler in the division, and John Jones had his way with Rashad Evans. So Dan Henderson, Rashad Evans. I'm leaning toward Rashad Evans just because of that wrestling advantage. He's going to have a fire lit under his ass after losing that terrible upset against Little Nog. Dan Henderson, he lost 2. I'm sure he has a fire under his ass. Both of them. This is really, if either guy loses, if Rashad loses, down to middleweight. If Henderson loses, maybe out of the UFC, maybe you retire, but this is really either guy's last stand in the light heavyweight division. The winner will probably stay at 205, try and make a run at the title. The loser, like I said, either retires or moves to middleweight.
A few things that Jake said. Oh, man. If only I could have remembered them, I would have called him up on them, but whatever. When I first heard about this fight, the even potential of this fight, Rashad versus Dan Henderson, up to about a month ago, I would have said Rashad by decision. I think he had the far superior wrestling. I think it was something about Jake said something about the John Jones fight. I don't remember Rashad Evans ever shooting on John Jones. I don't think he ever even tried level changing to go for a takedown. And maybe I'm wrong. But after seeing Rashad Evans have a brain fight against Little Nog, and the Black Zillions are also the bonehead of the week. These guys don't have a wrestling coach. If Rashad Evans goes into this fight having not trained that hard in his wrestling, Hendo's going to be able to keep it standing, and then Rashad's going to be reliant on his speed. Rashad's good on his feet, but he's been beaten before. I mean, well, the Little Nog fight doesn't really count, but John Jones was able to elbow him and beat him. Machida made him look like a fool for even trying to stand with him. I would have never thought I would have been picking Rashad Hendo to be able to keep on the feet. But he looked fantastic against Machida and mixing it up with leg kicks. I think Hendo, unless Rashad moves out of the Black Zillions, he might get knocked out. And I think that's what happened. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I think Hendo might be able to counteract Rashad's Black Zillion wrestling.
Jesus, Dan Henderson versus Rashad Evans. A year ago, this would have been a main event. This would have been a fight that I would have gone crazy about, anticipated. Now, after their last performances, this fight it could potentially be the most boring fight that we have ever witnessed in the UFC.
Ain't it true?
Yep. Basically, what I expect to see here is just Dan Henderson, Rashad Evans having a sparring match for the money. Just a bullshit little fight here. And if you look close, you'll be able to see dust coming off of both of their gloves. This fight should be a loser retires match. Then it'll be exciting. Word.
Raymond?
I'm kind of with Ramses on this fight. I think a year ago this would have been epic, and it's not really even as bad as Henderson looked against Machida, because that was just Machida is a bad style for a lot of people. It's how bad Evans looked against Little Nog. I mean, he just looked awful. This is going to be a 50-minute sparring match. It's going to be who lands the most punches. I'd love to see Henderson clip Evans and put him out, but I think Henderson will grind out a decision. But it isn't a fight I'm overly. I mean, I'm really excited for Shogun Little Nog. I know some of you as well, but I am personally. I'm not as excited for Hendo and Evans, unfortunately. I've just seen on Twitter as well, Mark Hunt's just tweeted out that he's never ever turned down a fight.
Oh shit, Dana White.
I'll just read the tweet now. I've never turned down a fight, and even when I was injured, I had to force myself not to fight. Your general fears no man, but the Almighty.
So, like I said, it's questionable. He's fought a lot of people. Ray, what do you think about that?
I want the fight to happen. I want to see Mark Hunt versus Junior Dos Santos. I think Mark Hunt could knock out Junior Dos Santos just because of how... I mean, that guy has got a head like a brick, and he's brutal with his punches. I think he could be the one to knock out JDS. And if he does, then I think his next fight's for the title.
Patrick, what do you think about Hendo Hashad?
You know what? I still like it. The fact that they're both coming off these losses, I think this will hopefully put some fire underneath them, make them both come out hungry, looking to put something exciting together. I'd love to see Dan Hendo come forward and just put that pressure on good old Rashad. I mean, I love Rashad Evans. He's definitely one of the greatest fighters that we've seen in the UFC probably ever. His record is still immaculate. But same with Dan Henderson. You look at his record. I mean, he's always a candidate for the greatest of all time. I mean, what he's done in this sport. He did win a UFC title. It was back. Oh God, Ray, you would know this. It was back. I want to say like UFC 17 or something like that. He won one tournament.
You're about Dan Henderson?
Yeah, Dan Henderson.
Yeah, he won the UFC 17 tournament. He beat Carlos Newton and Alan Goes.
There you have it. People forget about that. He was a UFC champion, Pride champion in 2 divisions at the same time. He was a Strikeforce light heavyweight champion, damn near the Strikeforce middleweight champion. Oh, he should have knocked out Jake Shields. I can't root against one of the candidates for the greatest of all time. I got to go with Hendo in this match.
And P-Money goes with Hendo. We'll try and make these next couple quick. I know, Ray, you got to get some sleep. It's 2 a.m. P-Money, you got to go get Miss Money. Henan Barrow, Eddie Wineland, UFC 161. Who you got for the interim bantamweight title? Hard to pick against Henan Barrow, but harder to pick against Eddie Wineland because we've had him on the podcast. I rarely pick against people on the podcast. So, if you're asking who I'm rooting for, I'm rooting hard for Eddie Wineland. I'm all on the Wineland train, but I've had Henan Barrow in my pound-for-pound top 10 the last year and a half, and I think he's got what it takes to beat Dominic Cruz. So I have Henan Barrow winning this one. What do you guys think?
I was about to ask, who the fuck is Eddie Wineland?
Shut the fuck up, cocksucker.
I gotta keep it real, man, and I guess I gotta keep it more real and listen back and hear that episode where you interviewed him, man. I don't know who this kid is, so I've got Henan Barrow also, man, even though I hate the way he looks with that shaved head, man. Something's not right there. But Ray, man, Henan Barrow versus Eddie Wineland. I don't care who wins. Who do you got, though?
I just want to say this is the fight that should happen. Henan Barrow and Eddie Wineland is definitely the right fight if Cruz isn't back yet. I mean, Wineland's last 2 fights, he's beat Brad Pickett and he beat Scott Jorgensen. I think they're his last 2, but I mean, I know he knocked Jorgensen out and he looked good against Brad Pickett. And Wineland definitely deserves this shot. But regardless of who fights Henan Brow, unfortunately, I don't think anyone's beaten Brow. I mean, the guy is just awesome. Obviously, I had quite a good seat at his last fight. I was quite close to the cage. Don't want to keep bringing it up against McDonald. But Henan Brow, he's the man. I think he's the man to beat Dominic Cruz as well. Wineland definitely deserves this fight, but I expect Henan Brow to take it.
You know, I definitely like Eddie Wineland's odds. Cut from a very similar cloth to Michael McDonald. Good wrestling, mostly good counter wrestling, and very solid striking. Good hands. I really like Eddie Wineland's hands. And he's got a lot more experience. He was the former WEC Bantamweight champion. He's been around forever, and he's one of the few guys that looks like he has been getting better with age. He's been putting a few wins together now, beat the always tough Brad Pickett in one of the sickest fights in a long time. So he's got a chance in there against Barral for sure, but I gotta pick with Barral.
Whoa, this fight. I'm excited with Barral right now. I think Wineland's got his losses are his losses are Benavidez and Faber. MMA math, you know it's not real, but you can understand why somebody would pick, why you'd feel more confident in picking Barral. I mean, Wineland got to split decision with Brad Pickett, and Henan Barral was able to make him look like a fool within about 3 minutes. So I'm siding with Barral, but I do like the fight, and I like that Barral's fighting. I remember he fought twice last year. He fought within about 4 months and then took the rest of the year off. I hope it doesn't happen again, but I like that champions keep fighting. I'm liking this.
The champion Henan Barral looking to defend his interim, or I guess he got it versus Faber, defend it against McDonald, and looking to defend it again. I don't like Dominic Cruz. I don't like his fighting style. But I'm hoping he comes back soon because I really want to see this fight. Last but not least, UFC 162, the July 4th card. It will be July 6th in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. Anderson, the Spider Silva, will be defending his middleweight belt against Chris Weidman this July 6th. What do you guys think? I know a lot of you guys are on the Weidman train, and to be frank, I'm shocked. So many people are picking Chris Weidman, and I know why you're picking Weidman. Anderson's shown that his weaknesses are wrestling, takedown defense. But, you know, he showed that against Chael. He's been working on it, obviously. I'm so surprised so many people are picking against the greatest fighter of all time. He is the best, and I'm not picking against him until he loses. Anderson Silva by devastation, round 2 knockout. I know some of you guys are going to pick against the champ, but who do you guys have?
I'm on the Weidman train. I've been saying it for a while. I've said it before. I think Weidman's the man to derail Silva. But to be fair, I've said it and got it wrong before. But yeah, I'm on the Chris Weidman train. I think Weidman offers whatever Sonny could do with the grappling, but he won't get caught in a submission, and he's more diverse with his striking. I think he could be the man that submits Anderson Silva. He's been submitted before, but not in a while. But yeah, I see Weidman submitting Silva.
I think Weidman has the tools. He's got the gifts. He's got the ability. But like Jake said, you got to pick Anderson Silva until proven otherwise. He's 16-0 in the UFC. I mean, Jesus Christ. You got to pick that man.
The first time I ever had to research Chris Weidman was the Alessio Sakara fight. And when I first saw his moveset, I saw that he trained with Ray Longo. I saw that he had a purple belt. I saw that he had an NCAA Division I Wrestling Championship. I saw straight away 3 things that made me think this guy had a chance to beat Anderson Silva, and is 4-0. And looking back at it now, he even knocked out. He even finished Uriah Hall. He beat Uriah Hall. He finished him off. That's an incredible job. I didn't know that at the time, but he was 4-0 and he had all the movesets. We've seen him fight. He's looked fantastic. He looks like he could be the man to do it. I don't know who's going to win. Nobody knows, but Weidman presents everything you've wanted. A guy with a good chin, a guy who hasn't been defeated. When you look back at Anderson Silva, you're going to be asking for, why wasn't there a guy with a good chin? Why wasn't there a guy who hadn't been defeated? Why wasn't there a guy with good submission defense? This is it. This is what we're going to ask for. If you want to know who the greatest of all time is, you've got to go see whether Silva can beat a guy like this. And I think Weidman might pull it off, but I don't want to say it. However, I do think Silva will land a flying knee in the third round and might get lucky. I am hoping so.
Yeah, well, I've already been sent via email a rough draft of the script for UFC 162, Silva versus Weidman, so I know how it's going to go so far. Chris Weidman is going to, they're going to pay this kid to take a dive. He's going to, just get up there and he's going to stand in front of Anderson Silva and act like he's in shock and awe of the man, just like we've seen from a few other people. And then he's going to let himself get knocked out. It's going to, supposedly in the script that I have for UFC 162, so far it's going to be a flying knee in the third round. So look for that. I'll let you know if the script changes.
Really? That's hilarious. I think you're copying my script, buddy.
Oh shit.
Well, I don't know. You could have been ripped off. I don't know, but so far it's good. I like the script. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to watch it.
Ray, before I do anything, I know you and Patrick got to get out of here. Patrick, you can dip out now. Thanks for coming on to the MMA Roundtable as always. Ray, you want to plug MMA Metal real quick?
Ray's gone.
Oh, Ray is gone. Shit. Is Patrick still here?
Yeah, I'm still here, my man.
Yeah, give MMA Mental a quick shout out, and then I'll cut your ass off.
Yeah, check out that UFC 158 press conference. Check out the audio. The press conference called MMAmetal.com. We got the podcast coming up tomorrow. Daniel Beaufort, Sal Palais, Tara DeRosa. We got a ton of fighters coming on tomorrow. Stay tuned, MMAmetal.com. And always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Hell yeah. Listen to the MMA Roundtable, this show, every Thursday, 7 to 9 Eastern, 4 to 6 Pacific, 12 to 2 a.m. in the UK. Ramses, what's the word on the street?
If you're tired of having sex with women that are overweight
or dogs,
attractive, exactly, you gotta follow me on Twitter, alright? Follow the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter, and you'll get, you won't believe the quality of tang that you start roping in, alright? Just do it, and you'll also get the latest UFC rumors and news. Word on the street.
Jay, let us know what's going on with the playground.
Well, it's just the usual stuff. It's a forum. It gets all the latest news. I think that somebody's probably putting up the Mark Hunt stuff right now. Just get on it. Just make yourself an active forum poster. We'd love to have you there. I mean, there's about 50 to 80 really active posters, and they're all incredible guys. Love to talk to them all at one stage. But yeah, it's going to be great. We got an event next week. We got the Bellator going on right now. You can also make your picks for Bellator, Bama, Cage Warriors, whatever. It's all in me too. Just go out there, have some fun, make some picks. You can't be worse than Jake. That's it.
Can't be worse than me. And as far as I go, the MMA podcast is every Friday, 9 to 11 Eastern, 6 to 8 Pacific. Check us out, the MMA Podcast, on Twitter, themmapodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening to the Roundtable. And for myself, Jay, Dirty Blue Jeans, Ramses, Word on the Street, MMA Mental, we got Ray, Patrick, P Money, and myself, the Beast of the Southern Wild, Jake Walters. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We go.